end of a very difficult year for Kenya National Union of Teachers, the year 2019. That, of course, started with the threat of industrial action with the Teacher Service Commission on 4 key issues, which were eventually determined by the courts. And the rest of the activities over the year has been something that is not one of the best. And that is why we've called you here today, so that we can communicate to the public and teachers. Mr. National Chairman, allow me to read through the written statement. This is the end-year media brief for Kenya National Union of Teachers. Though it has been a tormenting year, full of harrowing experiences that caused union members and generally the teachers in this country severe mental and physical suffering, Kenya National Union of Teachers affirms its position that it is committed to working harmoniously with the government, in particular Teacher Service Commission, in negotiating the terms and conditions of service for teachers for the purpose of improving the teaching standards and performance in the public service, in the teaching service in this country. Our field report, and mark this, our field report indicates that teachers' morale countrywide is very low across all the public schools. Very low. The lowest ever in the history of the teaching service in this country. Because of poor management by the Teacher Service Commission through unpopular policies coupled with a sustained savage attack on their union. The business of Kcse the whole of this year has been how to destroy Kenya National Union of Teachers. And we are happy, the media, you've seen it. And you've made very clear reporting in the past. This, of course, is what we call attack on trade union movement. It is not beginning in Kenya. In many countries, unions have been paralyzed, and particularly in countries where unions rely on checkoff, employers take it as an advantage to frustrate unions. The union, since signing the first ever collective bargaining agreement on 25th of October 2016, has endeavored to engage Teacher Service Commission in structured and constructive dialogue for the purpose of maintaining industrial peace in the teaching service. Indeed, it is against this backdrop that NAD leadership calls on the Commission to convene an urgent meeting to commence negotiations for the long overdue 2021-2023 CBA. Despite all this, we are not losing focus on the next negotiations of terms and conditions of service for teachers, which is a constitutional right under Section 41 of the Constitution. The life of the current CBA comes to an end on 1st of July, on 30th of June rather, 2021. And we've seen the guidelines of SRC that for a CBA to be signed, a union must submit its memoranda 1 year prior. And we wish to tell the public here that KNUT submitted its memoranda in the month of October. So we are on time, and it is subject to further supplementary amendments if we so wish. So indeed we are on time, and Kcse has no choice. It shouldn't play around with the aspects of recognition and all other games to try and derail KNUT. We will not be derailed even for a moment. And so we want commencement of the next CBA immediately within from 1st of January 2020, so that we can negotiate peacefully and sign a CBA on time that will fall in place seamlessly with improved terms and conditions of service for teachers with effect from 1st of July 2021. We want to avoid industrial actions. The reason why CBAs are signed, negotiated and signed is to avoid disruption of programs. And we are committed, let it be known to Kenyans, that we are committed to negotiate and sign the next CBA. And for details, you'll get later of what we have submitted to the Teacher Service Commission. Basic salaries, allowances, and reviewing other aspects of conditions of service of teachers in the teaching service. The Teacher Service Commission, instead, the whole of this year, and mark it, and we are saying without iota of doubt and fear, that the Teacher Service Commission has opted to operate outside the Teacher Service Commission Act, its own act, the Code of Regulations, the schemes of services which are valid and are in force and approved by the employment courts, the labor laws and international labor organization conventions on social dialogue. Absolutely, Kcse has vacated the commitment to social dialogue. And that is a very sorry state for this country and labor relations in the teaching service. Therefore, the union, today on this date, appeals to the Teacher Service Commission to avoid engaging in activities or programs that could jeopardize the forthcoming negotiations as it is in the current CBA. The Commission and Kenyan National Union of Teachers agreed in the signed CBA to ensure expeditious settlement of reported industrial grievances like we did early in the year and raised 4 issues which were dispensed of by the court. We did not move to the court. It is the employer that took us to court. And the ruling was ruled in favor of the teachers of Kenya. The details of that ruling you all know, and is a ruling that we shall defend because that is legitimate. All reported industrial grievances and strictly observe dispute handling mechanism as recommended in the 2017-2021 CBA. However, Mr. National Chairman, as the year 2019 comes to a close, and as we anticipate to start the year 2020 on a clean slate, and to start it on a clean slate, the onus is on the Teacher Service Commission. On a clean slate and in vibrant industrial base, Kenya National Union of Teachers leadership calls on Kcse to urgently review its policies regarding the following several issues that I will outline. Number 1, transfer of teachers under delocalization program. This definitely, of course, we've argued, has separated families. Families have broken down. And of course, it goes against the ILO UNESCO recommendation of domesticating teachers. And that is why teaching is not classified as a public service. It is not a public service. It is a teaching service. And that is why we sought to have a Teacher Service Commission. Teachers are domesticated within their communities. Mr. National Chairman, if you are choosing to delocalize teachers, why haven't you delocalized chiefs and assistant chiefs? Because the job they do is more domestic. Teaching has a lot to do with domestic language and indigenous languages and connection with the cultural ethos of the community. And those are international recommendations. And it is wrong for Kcse to academically coin the idea of national unity And we're repeating, it is not the business of Teacher Service Commission to try and solve political problems of this country, because they are not caused by the commission and teachers, and therefore they are incapable of doing so. They are doing this to the detriment of families and delivery of quality education. So we are not vacating our position. For as long as we are informed by data, that is the wrong thing to do. And we cannot sacrifice our families anymore. Number two, Teacher Service Commission should ensure teachers are promoted, teachers' promotions, particularly the common cadre, based on the schemes of services, and not, and we repeat, and not career progression guidelines as ordered by the court. Career progression guidelines were declared illegal by the courts. And we wonder the audacity and where the employer is getting courage to go against court rulings and implement policies that have been declared illegal. Mr. National Chairman, we insist that the law as it is and as ruled by the court, all teachers ought to be promoted through the schemes of services that are very clear about promotion of teachers in the common cadre. Those are classroom teachers. And as it exists at the moment, the classroom teachers are not captured at all in the career progression guidelines. We cannot, as a union, sit and watch an employer taking away the very rights of teachers that we've negotiated over the years. That's the same thing. Three, as I've stated, we have been under attack. And since the month of June, Kcse introduced what some backward governments used, like Mexico and the rest, where trade unions are not tolerated. And this is the beginning of intolerance of unions. They introduced what we call validation. And you know too well, union dues for KNUT was switched off in the month of July and August, out of bitterness of the court judgment. And the narratives were there was a computer error. That is to the tune of 140 million per month. And when the membership was returned in April, in September, the Teacher Service Commission to date has not accounted the whereabouts of 80,000 members, which they deliberately offloaded from our membership register. And so we insist today that our membership register, as was ordered by the court on the 16th of August, ought to stand at over 187,000. In fact, over 200,000, because of non-implementation of blue forms by the Teacher Service Commission and, of course, offloading. And therefore, Mr. National Chairman, we insist that the Teacher Service Commission must reinstate, because the court has ordered. If the court has ordered, where is Kcse getting the liberty to mutilate our register? Over 80,000 teachers who were forcefully, unlawfully, and maliciously offloaded from Kenya National Union of Teachers membership register. Failing to deduct union dues over the last couple of months. And let me tell you, the union dues that are coming to NAT cannot even pay the payroll, cannot run the payroll. So in short, KNUT has been killed by Teacher Service Commission. You know where they are. And this has crippled all the operations of the union. We could not hold the 62nd Annual Delegates Conference for lack of funds. That is the main reason. Not that we fear our members. And you know too well, we don't fear holding meetings. We issued out notice for our ADC in Kakamega. But to take the delegates, the branches must save over time. And the head office must save over time. What could we save when all union dues were put off in July, all union dues were put off in the month of August, and we are not begging. This is money that members have signed up to run their activities. And one of the activities is the ADC. To look like they are complying with the court order, they send some conditional union dues in the month of September, which cannot even cover the payroll. That means we have run this union through very difficult situations from the month of July. And of course, trying to manage some confusion. Thank God today, the great living God, we are united as a union, and never again shall we allow Kcse to play with us. This is a strong indication, the action by Kcse to cripple. You know, if you want to kill unions, put off their source of funding. And you know, NAT is the largest union in East and Central Africa, and one of the strongest in the continent of Africa. If you kill it, you have killed the labor movement in the entire continent. If you kill KNUT, you've killed the voice of social justice everywhere. Our business is social justice. So if you're destroying the civil societies, destroy unions, then what type of a society are we developing? Then this is evidence enough that there is a decline in democracy and human rights, and particularly those of trade union rights. And we wish to say without any doubt, teachers of Kenya and the Kenya National Union of Teachers have been denied their trade union rights for a whole entire year. Let that be on record. Number 4, the Commission has unilaterally and unlawfully introduced union membership validation through a digital platform where Kcse targets members to exit NAT. It is controlled, and this is an indicator of corruption. Corruption in Kenya, all those corrupt individuals, they've taken over the ICT system. Go to IFMIS, corrupt individuals. Go to NEMIS, it's corrupted. Now with this validation, and I invite you to check, it is programmed to destroy KNUT. It is programmed to destroy KNUT. And the law under section 48 and 9 requires members, teachers intending to be members, or workers intending to be members of a union, to sign a prescribed form. It doesn't talk about digital. So technically, it's also an illegal process. And through the wise ruling of Justice Maureen Onyango on the 16th of August, this platform was declared illegal by the courts. It was suspended, in fact, effectively. Why is Kcse continuing with it? Now let's look at it. An employer that does not respect the rule of law, Teacher Service Commission Act, it doesn't respect even court judgments that are very clear. I think we can best describe it differently. This is despite the existence of an active court order stopping the validation, and Kcse has persisted to use the same. It doesn't seem to be ready to give up, and we shall also not give up. We are not leaving Kenya. Teachers will be in Kenya. This union will be here. Fifth, Mr. National Chairman, by virtue of being teachers' employer and regulator, Kcse should exercise exceptional degree of civility and professionalism, and also serve as a role model by observing and obeying court orders and rulings. We've largely been in court ourselves with the Teacher Service Commission, and clear rulings have been issued. Kcse has elected not to obey those rulings with impunity. In the last 11 months, and these are obvious statistics, you can check with the court, Kcse has defied or ignored over 10 court orders or over 10 court rulings that had stopped unjustified implementation of several policies, which they are now hyping every day, everywhere, including CBG, You've seen the advertisement, even of head teachers, and you can see it's hitting the rock. Those who are supporting Kcse are now moving back indirectly to the schemes of services, because some of those policies do not work. Had Kcse complied with the orders, we wouldn't be in this state. This is impunity of the highest order and must come to an end. Whether you like a court order or not, please comply. If it doesn't please you, appeal. And once the ruling is made from the appeal, comply. These are not personal institutions, they are public institutions that are guided by the principles and values of governance under Section 6 of integrity. Any officer who does not comply with the rule of law and constitutional order actually is falling short of integrity and does not deserve to be in those public offices. 6, the Teacher Service Commission has introduced parallel payrolls in the teaching service, contrary to the provisions of Article 11D of the Teacher Service Commission Act, that talks of unified terms for all teachers without discrimination. The Employment Act of 2007, that talks of unified terms for workers without discrimination. And the International Labour Convention 95, that talks of non-reduction. Once a salary is awarded, it is awarded. You cannot reduce it. But what Kcse has done is to take away the benefits of the CBA from teachers who are members of Kenya National Union of Teachers. The introduction of 2 payrolls is in gross violation of 2017-2021 CBA, whose pay was awarded by Salaries and Remuneration Commission and not Kcse. Kcse whatsoever has no mandate to vary a salary award that has been provided, that has been awarded by Salaries and Remuneration Commission. And further, a salary award that has been financed by the Treasury and money appropriated by Parliament. The money has already been appropriated by Parliament. But coming into the payroll to develop 2 payrolls, no employer in Kenya during the colonial times and independence time has created 2 payrolls. It has never been done. This is a first. And in fact, whoever are doing that ought to be in jail by now. Because there are things you can't do. It is common sense. If you are reacting to a judgment that you lost, you cannot get down and begin inconveniencing workers who deserve a pay. And that money has been appropriated by Parliament. Today, as we speak today, on this day, Kcse is continuing to run 2 parallel payrolls. We've written to Treasury and Salaries and Remuneration Commission and urged them to prevail upon Kcse and stop Kcse. That money does not belong to Kcse. It was awarded by SRC. We call on Teacher Service Commission to respect the law and the CBA and accordingly run 1 payroll in the teaching service. And Mr. National Chairman, I wish to add that even as unions, under ILO standards, we are restricted from exclusively negotiating for members, our members only. We are not allowed. That is not allowed, permitted under ILO standards. Negotiate for all the workers within that service. Then you can charge agency fee. And under the Kcse Act Section 13, you go and download. There is a committee that is created by law to regulate terms and conditions of service of registered teachers in the teaching service. The payroll recognizes registered teachers in the teaching service. It doesn't recognize members of the different unions. So what Kcse is engaging in is uncalled for, and that is why the morale of teachers is down. If a teacher has not been earning a salary award that has been signed from the month of July to the month of December, do you think their morale is anywhere near being motivated to conduct any teaching in the classroom? In fact, this is an insecurity threat. It borders on insecurity, because We don't want teachers who are not happy, who have been molested unfairly, to go to the classrooms and handle our children. That's dangerous. The union has already alerted the Cabinet Secretary for Labor and Social Protection for avoidance of doubt. They are aware, and Salaries and Remuneration Commission. We also call upon the Office of the President, because it's a security matter. Somebody running 2 payrolls, you guys from the media, if today your employers begin running different payrolls and pay you differently, yet you are doing the same jobs, I don't think there will be peace. With same papers, same qualifications, same grades, simply because you are a member of NAT, you don't earn the provision of the 3rd phase of the CBA, which we signed. We negotiated. No other union negotiated that CBA. Check the date. We negotiated, we hired lawyers, human resource experts, and we negotiated and produced a document. Anybody else who signed after us signed the same paper and did nothing. Yet you turn around and discriminate against teachers who have elected through the Constitution to join Kenya National Union of Teachers. No, this is a painful thing. It's a very painful thing, and that explains why teachers are not happy. And that is why we call on the Office of the President to step in with the view of restoring order and sanity in remuneration of teachers in the public service. How will this category of teachers enjoy Christmas? Because all these festivities is about expenditure, and it is catered for in the CBA. Some are earning, others are denied. The payroll must be rectified with effect from July, and all the teachers who have been denied their justified earnings contained in the CBA be paid accordingly. That one, there is no choice. No government can run away from that. Hakuna na haitafanyika, and will not allow. And of course, Parliament has appropriated this money. So why are you taking money that Parliament has appropriated to pay workers? What do you want to do with that money? You take away money from workers? What are you doing with that money? Earning interest in the accounts of Kcse? That we won't allow. 7, the Teacher Service Commission has interfered with the gazettement of agency fee by the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection. The Commission has continued to remit agency fee to Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers. You know where they are located. We negotiated a CBA, and once you sign a CBA, those who are not members must be levied agency fee. The Ministry of Labor gazettes an order. But on 17th of May 2018, when they were trying to disorganize NAT, they went ahead and gazetted an agency fee, Kcse, worked out all ways to gazette agency fee in favor of Kupita. And when we moved to court, and an order was issued, similarly for NAT to receive, because naturally both unions should have enjoyed agency fee, which runs into millions of shillings, and is a right of a union that has negotiated. We negotiated, we spent resources, we led strikes, you know. We spend millions of shillings to hire lawyers to make a case. Finally, we signed a CBA. And the employer selectively chooses, in connivance with another ministry, which union to enjoy. And from the month of May 2018, we have been denied to date. And you can see in the year 2019, October, now they are turning around that we are supposed to lose recognition agreement. That's an insult. That is a big insult on account of NAT not having membership. And we have all the evidence. Kcse is not the business of Kcse even to keep a membership register. So the Commission has continued to remit agency fee to Kupita while denying NAT the same. Why? Why this discrimination? Open and blatant discrimination. That you want to kill NAT, deny them agency fee, and give another union? What interest do you have?